in Aquarius today. The full moon in Aquarius is on August 9th, so it's in a couple days. Later on, I will be doing a all signs oracle card reading live for the Aquarius full moon. And then for today, we're just doing like a general, like all signs, like what house do you have Aquarius in? But we're gonna be giving a lot of detail, a lot of specifics on the contents of that, right? I'm drinking my tea, gonna fill that up, gonna wait for people to show up. And so on and so forth. So yeah, let me just get all this stuff. And then we will get started. So yeah, let's get warmed up. Let me write down all my stuff. And then we'll get warmed up, texting the mods to get online. And yeah, okay. Let's write down everything we're talking about. We'll get warmed up. Once you guys get in, let me know what the vibes are, what you got going on. Yeah. Yeah, this is on SoularSystems. Let me post it here. Yeah. Maybe it's early for people. I don't know. What's going on? Pull up beans. That's funny. Yeah, where am I? Oh, I can start a Q&A. That's cool. Okay. Yay. Okay, let me get some hot water and then we'll get warmed up. All right, got everything written down. What up? Okay. Let me drink this. Okay. Alrighty. Dang, nobody's ripping. Oh, I do. Aha. Oh. Yo, thanks for telling me. That's why I was like, I didn't know I had it set it unlisted. I swore I had it set as public. Thank you. That's probably why I was like, yo, nobody's showing up. What the hell's going on? Weird. Well, let's see if it starts ripping now, we'll know that it's working. And if not, I'm going to restart. But I think that should do it. I just fixed it on my computer because I was like, what's going on? Like, why is it doing that? You know, like, what the hell is going on? I don't know. It was weird. But yeah. Let me check if it's still not coming up. Let me check. It might take a few seconds. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, we're getting warmed up. Whoa, I'm watching myself on my own computer. That's cool. Going to like it. But it doesn't say 2 people are watching. Yay! Okay, cool. Yep. Everybody's on the computer. Whatchamacallit? I just want to wait a little bit till, like, more people actually start showing up, and then we'll get started. Because, like, I was like, what am I messing up? You know? But, yeah, no, that, whatchamacallit? That app is, like, a real Aquarius Full Moon situation, you know what I'm saying? Where I was like, the school link, yeah, you can spam that. I'm going to promote the, like, the live readings link as well. So yeah, so it's like once I get the live readings link, we're going to do that, and because I'm going to do live readings on the next one, and I have one that I can DM it to you, but I have I have what is it? It's like I have one that someone got randomly that I'm just gonna do on this one, and then I'm gonna like email them the link and the timestamp of when I do it. But I'm saving like the oracle card readings and all that stuff for the next one, for the Aquarius full moon. But let me get hot water in my tea, and then I'll be back, and then we'll actually get started. Okay, I got my tea. What's going on? Okay. Lighting could be a little better. Okay, here we are. So, essentially what we got going on today with the Aquarius full moon is, whatchamacallit, oh, that's cool, you got a new tripod? That's what's up. The Aquarius full moon is on August 9th. It's on August 9th, and it peaks at 3:56, maybe like 4 p.m. Eastern time. And in that, it peaks at 16 degrees and 59 minutes, basically 17 degrees. And in that, essentially what we got going on with that space and with that energy is a lot of, you know, visionary insights, chaotic experiences, and just general like wildness, right? Because it's like the Aquarius full moon is very karmic. The Aquarius full moon is wild. It's very like harsh in some ways, and it's very definitive for a lot of aspects in your life, right? So when we dive into that, you can look at it like you know, you can look at it this way, right? Like it's like, hey, its head is in the stars, but where are its feet? You know, is it firmly planted in the energy of chaos? Is it fully planted in the energy of, how do I say, what's the word? Like, you know, innovation, chaos, uniqueness, like all that stuff, right? So when we talk about the full moon in that way, what do we expect? What do you think's going to happen? What do you anticipate will enlighten everyone to essentially just open people up to the possibility of status or opening things up, right? So when we talk about the Aquarius full moon, what we have going on is it's angling this fixed star, which we'll get into. It's angling this fixed star called Dite, which is in the Capricorn constellation. And with the Capricorn constellation, essentially what's going on is it's all about like status and a definitive nature. So it's just like something is coming to a head, right? So we're going to get into the fixed star on its own time. But with that being said, it is an opportunity for people to essentially, you know, be prepared, get ready for the chaos, get ready for the creativity. Let me actually look up where Dite is. All right. So Dite is the center point of the whatchamacallit, the fin of the sea goat, but we will get into that, right? So with that being said, let's whatchamacallit, let's get warmed up, and then we will talk about the specifics of, and then we'll talk about the specifics of the full moon, because there's a lot going on. Like there's a reason why I'm wearing orange. There's a reason why, you know, there's a reason why the full moon is for a lot of things. Everybody knew Like the Live. Like the Live. But yeah. Okay, so we got everything sorted here. All right. So the other aspect of the full moon is with it classically being an Aquarius, you know, it rules the collective, it rules community, it rules innovation, you know, social technology, radical change. Aquarius is the rebel, shouts out to the healing rebel. And then it's also the thinker. A lot of people call it the genius archetype. There's a lot of intelligence behind the Aquarius energy. And, you know, you could say it pulls us out of the matrix in such a way with fresh eyes, right? So with this moon sitting at 16 degrees, 59 minutes of Aquarius, and, you know, when we layer it with the calculation of the Capricorn constellation, it's all about the innovation behind the energy of how people collectively integrate their emotional status with the public, right? Like, so how do you collectively integrate your the emotional undertones of your status and who you're seen with the public, right? So one of the things that can best explain it is, like, as someone who does, like, you know, content and does views with like live streams and whatnot, my energy level goes like, it's not totally attached to it, obviously, but it goes a little bit up and a little bit down based off the amount of viewers and likes I have, right? Because at the end of the day, like, you're putting yourself out there for a point. You want to get views, you want to be seen, you want to be approachable in such a way to where it can you know, create an opportunity for yourself, right? Because it's like the same logic as people doing a protest, or people polling in some way, or people putting themselves out there in such a capacity that isn't exactly, you know, it's hoping that someone sees them, they get something out of it, and something happens, right? Like, that's what people are hoping for. So with that being said, the Aquarius full moon is going to likely bring something that's definitive, to where it's just like, who are you? What do you want? What do you expect out of life? How do you put yourself out there? Etc., 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 right? So, like, when we get more specific with that, we have to see where the full moon lands in your chart, right? So everybody drop your sign. Everybody, oh wow, you did it before I even asked. That's awesome. Yeah, Aquarius stellium like that. Oh man, well, happy full moon. It's all your moon, man. It's all your moon. Yeah, that's actually really cool. But anyways, this full moon is very, whatchamacallit? Beans, what are you talking about? But yeah, this full moon, it's an interesting one. Like I said, it's always quite definitive. Oh yeah, that's good. Yours is in the 7th. But yeah, so it's like, it's very definitive. It depends on the house you have it in. Like, things will feel close to home. Yeah, man, that's good. You know, it's kind of like I said, it's definitive. It could be good, it could be bad. It really depends. Like, people don't know with this Aquarius full moon, man. I've had really great things happen. I've had really terrible things happen, and the Aquarius full moon is the most I guess you could say, it's the most defined and specific one. Yeah, you're right. Today is the start of the Grand Air Trine. We're getting into that. We're getting into that. But yes, people are getting creative. You know, anything could happen type of energies. Like, we really, you know, it's hard to say. We don't know. We don't know. But without further ado, let us. We just talked about the basics of the full moon. We can get into the fixed star. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, let's get into the fixed star, right? So, first things first, we have to talk about how we calculate it. Because a lot of people still think that astrology or Western astrology is based in the stars, which it's not. Western astrology is based in like the house systems, really. There are 30-degree subsections of the sky. I'm actually going to do a live where I start to break down different aspects of the house systems, along with like my fixed stars series, because I have a course on it in my school community where I talk about like, I basically break down everything about the houses. Like, I talk about, like, here it's this part of the sky, it's this part of the body, it's correlated to this sign, and these are the constellations that are contained within it, right? So when people are dealing with astrology, they talk about it as star signs, and that's not what it is, right? So when we talk about star signs, that's like a different thing. That's a deeper thing. There's not 12 constellations, there's 88, right? So why do people focus on the zodiacal constellations and so on and so forth? So when we oh, that's cool, thank you. So when we talk about that or we experience that in some way, essentially what's going on is it is a deeper aspect of all of the energies that we have going on within that space, right? So when we talk about the calculations of the fixed stars, you need your Western constellation because the space is a container for the constellations to exist in, right? So when we talk about that and we look at all of these energies of the, of the full moon, it's very important to focus on the constellation behind it because that is the light that is quote unquote shining behind the moon, whereas the sun is promoting it from a forward angle, right? So when we look at that and we talk about that, how we calculate it is by looking at the specific degree and then going to certain, websites, certain energies, whatchamacallit. Yeah, I mean, like, you're right. I mean, that's just a different perspective on what I'm explaining, essentially, of where it's I'm just saying that each subsection of the sky are the signs that Western astrology is talking about. And I'm saying that there are still constellations within that that add depth to the degree, right? And what I'm saying right now about calculating that is that the fixed stars move 1 degree every 72 years, equaling out to like 0.848 minutes per year. And through that is how you calculate the fixed stars, right? So it's like on a lot of websites, the fixed stars are listed at their degree of the year 2000. I don't know if that, I mean, like people still use deacons. I don't know if that's specifically Egyptian, but yeah, it's subsections of the, I don't know. It's like you can look at deacons, nakshatras, people saying like, oh, I'm an August Leo or I'm a July Leo as the different energies of like breaking it down, but like I look at the purest way to break down the individual aspects of the signs by looking at the specific degree and constellation within that. So that's how I do it, but it's all different degrees. It basically all does the same thing, where it's kind of like I mean, like you could say gradient bands. I wouldn't say that. I would define gradient bands as a way to explain cusps to people that don't understand cusps. But it's just like it kind of all does the same thing, where it's just like breaking down the sign even more so. But I'm just like, I like to use what's actually there. So yeah. But anyways, how you calculate the fixed star is you essentially add on a couple minutes. So it's like, for example, the fixed star we're talking about is Dite, which is a part of the tail of the Capricorn constellation. Here, let me pull it up real quick. Okay. So let's go over the fixed stars. Whatchamacallit. What was I looking at? Oh, Antares, because I did a live fixed star reading. Fixed stars. Scrolling down to 17 degrees of Aquarius. Not this one. It's the Capricorn constellation. Okay. So, it's pretty much this one. Yeah, here we go. This was the closest one. So basically it's like right here. Yep, this one right here. So this one with the math included is already 17 degrees of and let me double check this. Yeah, this one's fun. So yeah, it's this one on the tail of the Capricorn constellation. Like all of these like kind of mean the same thing. So, oh, thanks. Yeah, we have a lot of Aquarius risings. That's cool. But yeah, so the full moon angles this part of the constellation right here. I mean, all of these are kind of like different aspects of the same thing. So basically, it's like the Capricorn constellation is in roughly, you know, it spans a lot of Aquarius. It depends on latitude. You got to look into that as well. But basically, what the energy of this, it's not the butt beans. It is, oh, we actually, when I was doing live fixed star readings, someone actually angled this, which I thought was cool. But, that's pretty much how you find it. But aside from that, what people need to learn about this aspect of the stars and this aspect of the energies is that people like look at it this way, right? So the only thing different about the Capricorn constellation and the tail of those different energies is the tail, when I was doing that reading, was focusing on the emotional subtext and directing the emotional subtext of the collective, right? So when we talk about the tail and it just being the energy of the subconscious undertones of how people identify themselves and provide value to the world, you can look at it like this full moon is releasing some old emotional attachments of how you would identify with your status and how people would see you in the world, right? So with that being said, it is powerful because people are going to feel either really good about what they're doing or they're going to be feeling awkward about their place in the world, right? So you're gonna like basically this full moon will lead to a lot of positivity. It'll lead to a lot of nihilism. It'll lead to people being confused with certain aspects of what's going on in the world. It'll be people being confused with different, you know, aspects of like who they are and how they fit in. People, it's just gonna create a lot of like emotional nonsense and a lot of emotional perspectives, a lot of emotional just turmoil with different, you know, energies within themselves and with people, right? So, like, if we were to get specific, someone who's feeling really positive about this, they would be getting a lot of, how do I say? They would be getting a lot of opportunity to like essentially align with them and flow and generate I mean, I wouldn't say all that. I don't know, that's like a very like generic thing to say. Like that's just saying like I'm spiritual, so I'm going to spam the love and light button and, you know, like just say that and feel good about that for no reason, which is a gift and a power in itself, but does it do anything? No. Like do you like what does staying grounded and searching for clarity mean to you? Like that's just like one of the generic spiritual things to say, you know? So it's just like when it comes to that, if we were to actually like break that down in a specific way, I would look at it as people like meditating, figuring out what aligns with themselves and where their highest excitement is, right? Like we'll touch a little bit deeper on that when we get into the alignments. So you can look at it like Mercury retrograde or yes, I mean stay above the water. I would dip in it a little bit. Like it really just depends on like if whatever your purpose is or whatever you feel aligned with is I don't know. It's like it's kind of like a deep thing to explain and articulate for an individual, if that makes any sense. Like I would have to look at your chart and give a specific example of it. But like as you said, you're Aquarius rising. Like so for you, it's more or less how you self-identify, how you associate, because it's like the rising sign is the energy of what you feel like you have to do and essentially the way that your spirit rode in on. So it's an opportunity for people to, how do you say, like, it's an opportunity for you to be I gotta think. What up? Like, it's an opportunity for you to be open and kind of like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's like it's not that though. Like, it's like for you, like I said, in general, it's the spiritual undertones of what you feel like your purpose is and what you feel like you're supposed to be aligned with, and basically the emotional undertones of how you feel like that alignment resonates with the world. So it's like using your emotional state to essentially moderate that connection between how the public sees you and your status versus how you feel about it, right? Like, you're just like, am I doing this to make money or am I doing this to feel good, right? Like, do you feel good about what you're doing on a regular basis when the public view is on you? Like, that's what it is if we were to boil it down specifically. So when during this full moon you're supposed to stay like, staying grounded is a tool to bring you clarity, but it leaves out like the law of intention, you know? So it's just like, why are you grounding yourself? Why are you, you know, searching for clarity? What are you searching for clarity for, right? So it's just like when I get vaguely annoyed about a lot of those like spiritual classic terms, I like it's normally because it negates the law of intention and people are just kind of ignoring that, you know? So that's kind of like why yeah. I don't know why you're asking question mark every time, dude. That's what's throwing me off. But whatchamacallit. So yeah, that's like pretty much the point behind the fixed star of where it's like it gives you just that extra clarity and that extra specificity behind the exact alignment that we're working with, right? So when we talk about it that way, it is an introduction. There's a lot of power behind it. There's a lot of opportunity behind it. But what you need most is to basically just like chill out, relax. Do you feel aligned with what you're doing? And so on and so forth, right? So with that being said, let's move on to the specific alignments that we have here. Y'all are wild. Okay, let's talk about these specific alignments. Okay. So, what we have going on is we got a lot of alignments going on. As you can see, what? What do you mean upload a PDF of the alignments? Thanks. I'm so confused, Beans. Let me check. I'm pretty sure I did. Like, I never really, whatchamacallit, I never, like, I have the screenshot of the alignments for the full moon right here. Would I am so confused. I don't think I would upload a PDF for that. Like, I just remind people that I wrote the moon manifestation guide. Very certain I did not upload a PDF. Yeah, like what are you talking about? I would upload this. I would upload the screenshot of this. All right, cool. Yeah, because I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, anyways, the alignments that we're dealing with right here is Yeah, I would upload them for the calls, but not the full moon. I upload a PDF for all the calls. I definitely have that on there. I just haven't done that yet because it's not for a while. But yeah, what we got going on here is essentially we have the full moon opposing Mercury retrograde. So you may have noticed me here. Look, I'm wearing orange. And essentially what I'm intending to do on this live is I'm going to kind of watch it back and basically observe when the full moon shows up to watch me, basically watching myself make questionable decisions. So like poorly thought out decisions. I just like to, I don't know, I like to do things in this way when it's either like I'm dealing with something or I'm going through something mildly stressful. And essentially what I do is I, put it out there in such a way to where I can observe it, right? So it's just like the full moon, it's all about being an observation of the opposing energies right here. So in this, we are, oh, I gotta write that down. Okay. So essentially what we're focusing on is the energies of this opposition, right? So public perception versus your own creative vision. How are you messing it up in some way, shape, or form, right? So with me wearing orange, I'm showing myself how I'm messing it up because I have Leo between the 9th and 10th house in some way, shape, or form. So putting that together, it's an opportunity to essentially focus in such a way that is, it's aligned with the possibility of just being misunderstood for your own creative endeavors. So it's like, it's not necessarily how you're misunderstanding your own creative endeavors. It's how am I misunderstanding my own creative endeavors due to my requirement for it to be based on public perception, right? So what gets interesting about this is before the full moon, we also have Moon conjunct Pluto retrograde. Moon conjunct Pluto retrograde is an opportunity for you to essentially figure out what is holding you back in some way and figure out how you can actually move forward despite of that. So what it is an opportunity for you to essentially just, sit quietly, sit politely, understand what's going on, and have an opportunity to essentially resonate with the potential for, increased power or issues regarding this full moon, right? So when we're talking about this alignment is, look at it this way. Essentially, this alignment is, how do I put this? What's going on? Essentially, this alignment is, it's going to be a reminder of claiming your own power. It's going to be a prelude. It's basically going to be the quote-unquote punch in the face before the full moon actually guides you onward to the possibility of just, how do I say? Like, before it guides you into being like how you're focusing on your creative vision stupidly, if that makes any sense. So look at it like, look at it as if everybody new liked the live. Double tap that screen for your boy. Look at it as if the universe is kind of like showing you like, here, this is how you're messing up by either, viewing yourself in some way versus public perception. This is how you're messing up versus focusing on the public rather than your own creative vision. And then it's also doubling down and showing you that your own creative vision is blocking you from the abundance and the opportunity and the possibilities of what you could be actually doing, right? So it's saying, here's little tweaks you can do to improve things, right? Like me, for example, I am eventually going to be multi-platform streaming. Everybody spam little things right here, make me excited. I'm going to do multi-platform streaming at one point. Why am I doing multi-platform streaming? Because I have multiple social media accounts with thousands of followers, and if I do that and I just literally add in one app doing the same things that I do, I will very likely have multiple, I will literally double my average concurrent viewers overnight, right? And I can cross promote between different platforms, I can cross promote between different experiences and literally amplify that, right? So what it's saying is, it's like the Pluto side of it is saying, if you want to gain power over your social media endeavors, you can literally just download a new app, connect it to multiple platforms, and become much more abundant in how many different streams you can put out across platforms, right? So if you combine all of that and then you look at your creative endeavors, you don't have to worry about doing specific things on YouTube to blast out views there, and you can have multiple aspects on different platforms, right? So you can just be creative, you can do what you want, you can do your experience, right? And people will sense the energy naturally, and then you can also, quote unquote, just bask in the light of people paying attention to and using that energy in such a way that is abundant, right? Now, there's a couple more alignments that I will mention. Like Beans mentioned before, the Grand Air Trine is starting today. Once again, it's a harsh Grand Air Trine. It's a very creative networking endeavor, if that makes any sense. If you guys haven't liked the live already, like it up. I'm trying to blast this out, get the actual astrological information out to the people, because people just ignore the fixed stars and all that stuff and all the alignments and all the specifics of it, which is annoying. So yeah, and then whatchamacallit, I'm going to talk about some other alignments. So we're going to talk about the Grand Air Trine. We're going to talk about, I have to do a live reading for someone in a second. And then we are going to go into the all signs reading. And we have a lot of Aquarius risings. However, I go in order, so you're going to have to stick around. But yeah, Grand Air Trine. So the Grand Air Trine is harsh, to say the least. It's literally the air trine of all the harshest planets. So when we have a Grand Air Trine and all the harshest planets, look at it this way, right? All the harshest planets are going to have a perspective on the energy of air. I don't necessarily think Uranus is that harsh. I don't think Uranus is harsh in such a way. Like I don't think it's necessarily. Honestly, it very could likely be something that I'm talking about right now. So, like I don't think Uranus is harsh. I just think it's definitive, cutthroat, and dry, right? Like it could be definitive, cutthroat, and dry for something positive. It could be definitive, cutthroat, and dry for something negative, neutral. You just never know. Like that's just how it's gonna be, right? Someone who I learned astrology from in the beginning of my career defined it as your crackhead uncle. That's very random. Take that with what you will. They've definitely taken your copper wiring and piping. And then Pluto's a little bit different. Pluto is uncaring. Pluto is blunt. Pluto is, it just wants you to do you. It wants you to take control over your own power. It wants you to take control over your own energies. Pluto just wants to leave. So it doesn't have to keep being like, oh my God, these people, right? Like, get over it, move on with your life, move up with your life, So essentially, like, Pluto's very just like tired of it. Pluto's very focused on just do it, like get it over with. Like you have power, you need money, go get it. You need this, go get it. You need that, go get it. Right? Like that's what Pluto is at the end of the day. Pluto is an opportunity for you to really resonate and recognize that there's power in possibility, there's power in you, and it will give you time to take power and control over your own situations and eventually, block you or force you or basically just put you in a situation where you need to learn, right? So it's like Pluto isn't bad. Pluto isn't good, but Pluto is harsh. Pluto is cold. Pluto is like that scorpionic energy where it just stares at you and said, you know what to do. Why didn't you do that? So when we talk about Pluto and we talk about that energy, it's very creative, right? Like that's why people see it as a very, you know, sexual planet, very sexual energies, because it is that pure energy of creation itself. It just wants to get, essentially just wants to get you off of its ass, right? Because Pluto's, it's the furthest out planet. It got downgraded. It's like, let me just leave this solar system. But the people need to learn how to do this, right? The people need to learn how to, like, it's Mars times 10, as people say, you know? So when we talk about Pluto, it's like, I don't really see Pluto as mean. Pluto just exalts self-reliance. You know, Pluto exalts self-respect. Pluto exalts that creativity within. So when people talk about Pluto in that way, like it's you know, Pluto plus Aquarius, Pluto plus, you know, the moon, it's gonna be crazy. Pluto specifically, I have to double check what fixed star it's angling. But I'm fairly certain it's still Altair in the Aquila constellation. Let's check. And then if you guys are familiar with Assassin's Creed, the depiction of Altair in the video game is like spot on to what the star resonates with. Yeah. I always found that interesting, right? Because it's just like, you know, Subaru is the Pleiades constellation. Whatchamacallit? You know how to tap into other... You gotta be more specific, man. I don't know how much you've watched me, but like... energies and like... retrograde is not finished. But when I look at astrology like this, of where it's the custom breakdown of your own chakra system, and I do a lot of custom guided meditations for people on certain transits. I have a coaching program of where I work with people to... Like, a lot of people do trauma healing, but there's so much beyond trauma healing when you look at the chart in this way. It could, like, one of my favorite things is to go look at past lives and genetic memory within certain parts of the body and like literally like just pull out skills the same way they do in Assassin's Creed. When does the retrograde finish? For which planet? I don't know. I mean, like, we'll double check. I always have a lot of trouble with shipping physical solar maps internationally. They either get returned 3 months later, I didn't put enough postage, blah, 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 blah. All the retrogrades? We'll save this for the Q&A. Pluto finishes its retrograde in mid-October. Neptune is in early December. Uranus is early next year. Saturn is late November. And then Jupiter is also all kind of next year. And then Mercury goes direct next week, right before we have that Venus-Jupiter conjunction, which is like a very lucky day. So, yeah, I don't know. If you guys have been having a rough time, what I will say, because I know I have, yeah, so like, yeah, dude, and the homie Chad, man, Mr. Giga Chad, as they say. You should change your profile picture to that. But, what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Yeah, if you're interested in the solar map stuff, that's what it's called. It's called the solar map. Beans, can you drop him a link to my... I have a free guide, and if you actually want that chart, it comes with a discount if you get that free guide. So yeah, just drop that link in the chat. You can download that guide. It's like a 20-page dissertation on all the basics of how I actually utilize it. I gotta come out with a free guide for the fixed stars and promote that. That's been on my mind for a while. I might do that later this week, because I'm gonna be going crazy on TikTok, like posting like a video. I'm gonna post like 10 videos in a day, just like straight talking shit on the Lions Gate. The only free thing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, your boy has 1, soon to be 2 free things, and that's it. I charge for this science, man. I spent lifetimes studying this stuff. That's why I know it so well. But yeah, anyways, back to the Aquarius energies. Like, when we're moving, how the planets are moving, and then eventually getting back in, hey, you know, shouts out, they're not giving their information to the CCP, man, you know? Asia. Billions of people. But yeah, if you're curious, you can check that out. I don't know, it just seemed like you're interested in it. But yeah. But anyways, what else was I saying? Right. Let's reiterate. Mans is getting distracted. What was I saying? Oh yeah, thank you. So yeah, sorry, I was looking at I got a lot of tabs open. I was looking at the alignments to give me direction. But yeah, the grand air time, we're going through all the planets. What really makes it harsh is the Mars alignment, because Mars is currently in 29 degrees and like 50 minutes of Virgo. So it's on the cusp of beauty right now, of where people have creative networking opportunities. Like, for example, I'm surprised. No, I have been called. I was almost shocked. I was like, is this the alive where I haven't been called handsome? That's crazy. That literally always happens. But yeah, but I was like, no, I think I did. Right now Mars is on the cusp of beauty. That's why I got distracted. Which is between Virgo and Libra, and it's essentially like I see the cusp of beauty in a different way, of where it's just like, oh my God, you're beautiful. Thanks for clarifying that. That's funny. But yeah, so the cusp of beauty is essentially like, I see it as a beautiful opportunity of where people unify over their curiosity of a certain system or a certain plan. So it's like you're sharing, it's more or less beauty in people getting interested in the sharing of an idea, and where they have that like completing each other's sentences type of feeling, where they get so focused on the potential of what could be from a given idea. So it's like it's literally like that feeling. So it's like if Jupiter is that feeling of you loving a Netflix series or loving a book series that you just can't put it down, the cusp of beauty is that feeling of you sharing an idea with somebody, if that makes any sense. Like, everybody's familiar with it. It's like, whoa, you like skateboarding? I like skateboarding. We could do a flip. We could do this, 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 and this. Excuse me. That is summed up in the cusp of beauty. So when we talk about Mars being there, it's almost like that same energy, except people being hard pressed for networking, right? So it's like a lot of the same energies is going to be going on, except it's going to be much more cunning, much more intentional. And with the air energies being there, it's going to be a bit devoid of that, I don't know, that like lightness, that pureness, that energy of what could be. You know what I'm saying? So essentially what's going on with that is, I don't know, I see it's going to be brewing before the full moon, but arguably, like, I don't know, the grand air trine starts like within a day of the full moon cycle, so it's really kind of like symbiotic in some way. And you could look at it as if, I don't know, you could like look at it, because it's like, it's going to be happening at the same time that like the moon semi-conjuncts Pluto. So you could look at it as if it's that energy of people bubbling up, of where they don't exactly feel aligned with where they fit in society. Like, does that make sense? So it's like people don't necessarily feel aligned with how they essentially like connect with a certain space. They don't exactly align with how they connect in a certain energy. So that's what's kind of gonna that's what's really gonna be starting it in a way, of where like it's triggered with Pluto, whether people go towards Uranus or they go to Mars, it depends, right? So it's like it's gonna be like a forced energy of connectivity, forced collaborations, forced like trying to be creative. But what people are really chasing is that feeling of having purpose, right? And this all ties back into the fixed star of the full moon, which is in the tail of the Capricorn constellation, pushing people to resonate with like a shell of their own emotional connectivity to their purpose and how it is useful in society, if that makes sense. So it's cool. It's an opportunity, but is it necessarily good? Is it necessarily abundant? No. It's not exactly coming from a good place. It's not coming from an aligned place. And it's going to feel forced, right? So that's like how the grand air trine comes into play. And that's sort of like how the alignments are going to be pushing people to feel like, you know, it's going to be, you know, it's not it. It's not it. So, yeah, with that being said, if anybody has any questions, oh, right. That's what I was going to say. So there is an app that I found that sums up the Aquarius full moon like quite perfectly. It's called Zora, and it basically it like literally meshes NFTs and meme coins with like Instagram. Like it combines that like damn near exactly. So if you want to check that out, check it out because it's kind of hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much it. That's like the most like Aquarius full moon thing I've noticed. But with that being said, both good and evil? Yeah, I mean, like, so the good side is people, like, if you feel aligned with your purpose, you're going to go twice as hard. And you're going to have a lot of opportunity to network and really see opportunities and be much more of a go-getter. Hello, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. If you haven't liked the live already, like it, please. And spam some emojis down there. Actually, I will, yeah. No, I mean, I saw what you're saying. I'm just thinking about it. But like the good side is people are gonna go twice as hard and like be, I don't know, like lobbyists and CIA level of networking in terms of like their goals and their passions and their dreams. And in terms of bad, people are going to be attempting to do the same thing from an unaligned space because they are, you know, it's like, yeah, that. It's the most Aquarius full moon thing I could possibly see. I thought it was funny. But yeah, but then from a bad space, people are just gonna be like forcing it. They're gonna be trying to like revive like something that they've been unaligned with for a long time, and the universe isn't gonna respect that. Yeah, the universe isn't gonna respect that. How old do you think I am? But yeah, so essentially what that is an opportunity to reconnect. Like I wouldn't forcibly reconnect, but I don't know what you're referring to, like the checkerboard pattern. Yeah, it's an app. But yeah, it's pretty, yeah. You have one number, right? I'll tell you that much. Yeah. It's like, what is it? It's like I don't know, it's like that like all-seeing eye that was like that all-controlling AI from yeah, exactly. I'm 37. I get my social security check soon. But yeah, what was it? How do I put this? I don't know, because the icon for the app looks like a movie. It's like that all-seeing eye, like controlling AI and like Wall-E. It was some Disney movie. But yeah, it's like the same thing, and probably, I don't know. It'll do the same thing. It has a crazy team behind it, and it has a very very crazy marketing track record already. So we will see. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, gratitude always helps. Now let me do a live reading. I have to send it to someone because they got it for the other thing when I was doing the other stuff. But yeah, and then if anybody else wants a live reading, Beans, please drop the link because we're gonna get into it. Oh, the checkerboard Masonic symbol? I wouldn't say so. I would say that applies to a different app with the similar company and, you know, technology basis, but I wouldn't say it is connected to that. Okay. Alrighty. Let's do this. Let's move this here. But yeah, if anybody wants a live reading, I'm going to be doing it on my next live in like a day or two. But someone booked a live reading for when I was talking shit on the Lions Gate. Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar, but like, you know, if you remember what I was saying about the law of intention, like, you know, you're just saying information that like tickles your dopamine receptors right now, you know? Like there's no specificity behind it, right? Oh, okay, thanks for clarifying. I think there's like a 10-second delay on here. I'm not quite sure. But oh yeah, no, definitely like by no means would I say this is good for society. I'm just saying it's very Aquarius full moon, you know? That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's pull the cards here. All right, guys, stop wobbling. So I'm let me double check who this is for. I think her name's Eliza. Yeah, Amy Alicia. That's who this is for. So, pulling the cards for Alicia. She got it during the card reading on, what was it? It was during this week for the Lionsgate, but now we're kind of moving on towards the full moon in Aquarius. So it is an opportunity for people to observe and identify the energies of this week leading up to the full moon in Aquarius, which includes the Lionsgate, Mars, and Libra. And let's see some past, present, and future lessons for Alicia. Past, present, future. Yeah, that's why I'm moving it up a little bit. Okay, so the past, we got Hirath. A lot of past lessons says longing for home, homesick for the stars. Essentially, that ties into kind of what I was saying about the full moon, which was, it was talking about like in the past there was some misalignment with like your purpose and what you were aligned with, so on and so forth. And I don't know, it's not really too detailed. Other than that, let's see what this is. And then the current thing, which I sort of see connected to the Aquarius full moon, is your current lesson is seeing a lot of the potential and bringing the unconsciousness to light. The Season Mintaka card is aligned with, whatchamacallit, I always forget which belt. I gotta look it up because this is one of the 3 stars in Orion's belt. And the Season Mintaka, after, you know, being homesick for the stars and finding a star, it's saying that your current lesson is based in alignment and you're focusing on this energy, but you're not exactly sure how, you're not sure. You're not, whatchamacallit, you're not exactly sure, what's the word? Sorry, I got distracted by comments. You're not, sorry, this is stumping me because it's kind of vast in terms of the energies. But you're not exactly sure of the level of potential of what you have within your alignment, right? So it's just like coming back to the concept of understanding purpose, understanding ideologies, understanding the energies of what feeling aligned with your spirit has to offer, right? So this is kind of like the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you have to offer, what you're open to, and what the potential for, you know, just life in general is, right? So that's kind of like this full moon is aligning for you, where it's just like, oh, I wasn't focused on this for so long. What does that have to offer to me? I wasn't focused on this. I could have been doing this. And it's just like the whole world opens up in terms of potential, right? Now, the next thing you got in the future card is baby steps, right? So it says action, follow your intuition before it makes sense, right? So with this being your future lesson, you kind of have a long way to go in terms of uncovering what it means to feel aligned, right? Because you spent so much time without your purpose, so much time outside of the necessary energies, and so much time outside of your purpose that you are getting used to and getting your quote unquote sea legs back in terms of what you have to offer in life in general. So the next thing that you have is like, okay, you really shouldn't do too much other than just sitting in what you have and absorbing and getting realigned with that feeling, and then moving towards taking action towards something, right? Because right now it's like you're too absorbed in the possibilities of what could open up to you, and you're not exactly focusing on the depth and the opportunity and the levels of abundance that you actually have to experience, right? So what it is an opportunity for you to essentially whatchamacallit, it's an opportunity for you to just sit and experience the vibration of peace, because more things are going to keep coming up that you get excited in, and until something sticks, you shouldn't exactly dive headfirst into your first idea that feels good, if that makes any sense. Now, pulling some cards on the connected purpose behind this, we're going to see what the point is, and you can look at the two pillars of your purpose as like the combining aspects of the lesson. This side, you got the 7 star sisters, which is birthing creations and getting used to that like creative energy again. And then over here, you have Sirius energy in the messenger, right? So like between here and here, it's just like gentle creation. And then this is like the kind of like left side star over here. So it's birthing creations and having that like multi-layered, just like kind of like it's not really like you're doing too much. It's more or less just like you're pursuing your creative energies and just creating what's in front of you, with no real like there's no real purpose behind what you're creating with this at this moment in time. Like you're just creating just to create, just to ride the wave of the energy. And once we get over here, because once again, this is a chronological reading starting here in the past, present, and then moving to the future, we have the messenger energy, which is Sirius, bringing harmony and balance. Essentially, I have my opinions about Sirius, but in terms of this case, it's, you know, perfectly fine in terms of what it offers and what it does. So you can kind of look at it like an opportunity for you to learn how to, you know, put things out there, learn how to just like express, learning how to just show people the essence of peace and prosperity that can like bring to you, which is from the energy of resonating with your soul, being aligned and experiencing purpose. So when we think about purpose, what does purpose do? Purpose gives you clarity, it gives you focus, and it allows alignment in terms of how you want to direct your energy. That's what it does. Because now you're moving with purpose, you're moving with intention. Your energy is going towards something, and you have a concrete engine of expressing things and receiving a result back in a way that you want to do, right? Because heaven on earth, heaven for a spirit in any realm of reality, is consciously experiencing what you want, you know? So that's essentially what's going on. Now, the purpose behind all of this is to essentially water your garden. It says nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. That is the entire purpose of what you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to be a loving soul. You're supposed to be a high vibrational soul. And you're supposed to be someone who just waters your garden, right? Whether this means a spa day, whether this means you dabble in your creative endeavors and ideas, whether this means you share that message with others. Essentially, all it is a moving practice of self-love, self-appreciation, and opportunity in your life. Like, that's literally all it is. That's the entire purpose. That is what you need to do. So that's pretty much your reading. I'm gonna email you the timestamps of when this was happening, and then yeah, I don't know, just let me know what you think. But yeah, moving on. Now we're doing the all signs reading. So for you Aquarius ascendants that sticked around, this is pretty much the cards. Should probably save that for you. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And if you guys are interested in me pulling cards for you, click that link. And then yeah. Damn, Chad, what the hell were you saying? Yeah, I don't know. You kind of just went on your own thought tangent there, and I think there was a miscommunication in terms of what we were talking about, but vibes. All right, let's get started with Aries. Okay, whatchamacallit? I gotta get some more hot water for my tea because I'm about to be talking a lot. But for you guys, let's start a Q&A. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys got something crazy to say about the full moon, just drop this right here. Check it out. Ooh, it can move it around. That's cool. Yeah. Say something crazy about the full moon. I'm gonna go get some more tea, and then yeah, and then we're gonna start the all signs reading, starting with Aries. Oh, need some water. Okay, we back. All right, this is gonna be wild. We'll do that later. Thank you. But yeah, so let's start with Aries. Aries is one. Someone said I was 17 earlier. We can stick with that. I like that. That's chill. Okay, so essentially with Aries, they are having Aquarius in their 7th house. Thanks for sharing. We're getting the Scorpio. We're getting a Scorpio for sure. They are, you can look at it like Aquarius is meant to lead, but now's their time to lead with others and essentially let go of their solo hero identity, if that makes any sense. What I mean by that, and the issue with that, is essentially what they've been dealing with, which is they're finally facing that karmic energy with Chiron retrograde and, you know, Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. That's funny. Yeah, I go in order, and then I tell people to drop their signs and say, "I'll start with yours." Nope, going in order. But yeah, what's going on with Aries is they're dealing with that energy of they're dealing with their energy of like loving loving just being the pioneer, and they're loving to be the pioneer, but they're not doing anything for themselves and other people, right? So it's like they are the leader. They need to learn how to appreciate and learn those lessons. But the issue with that is it's like I don't know, it's like they're meant to lead, but they have to lead for themselves, right? And they don't have to lead for themselves just because they want to be the leader. They have to lead for themselves because they want to whatchamacallit, they want to just be, right? That's a broad statement that doesn't do anything but make you feel good. So I don't know. I think there's a little more depth to it than Scorpio just being the soul. They have a lot of soul energy. They have a lot of mastery of their soul, but are they the soul? No, they're not. The best representation of the soul in astrology is correlated to your fixed star in your moon sign. And that's not even your soul. That's just like how your soul's vibrating at this moment and what it's using to create a mentality for this lifetime. But is it the essence of everything that you are? No. No, it's not. But anyways, back to Aries. So Aries is just like they're just dealing with that first and fourth house square of where it's like they're learning to lead. They love to lead. People need Aries, but they have to lead from themselves and not necessarily ignore that. They can't be like Leos where they're focusing on everything they have going on, right? So whatchamacallit, Aries has a lot of potential, but they need to focus on their inner authority, right? They need to focus on their inner authority. They need to see what's going on inside, and they need to remember that they have an opportunity to. You're funny, man. You're like, if I have to wait, they have to wait too. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what Cancer is, right? Like they're just being in a space of I don't know, just being silly. Like they just have to learn their silly lesson of just like liking to be a leader and liking to be a pioneer when in reality there's nothing specific about it, right? Like they're just being a pioneer for pioneering's sake and they're not doing it with any purpose or any intention, which is odd for Aries, but with that being in their ascendant, that's essentially what they deal with, right? So let's move on to Taurus. So Taurus, their lesson is divine structure. They have to channel their routines, hold the key, and root themselves into a deeper ritual from whatchamacallit, from the soil, right? So essentially what it's saying is, you know, your innovation will grow, your creativity will grow, but they got to focus on their own status, right? Like Taurus has that lesson that I was talking about with full moon conjunct Pluto. They're having that lesson of what's their purpose, what's their status. They're having that issue with connectivity to their status. They're having that issue to connectivity to those energies, right? So it's an opportunity for them to be respectful, to resonate, to have all of those opportunities flow to them. But the issue is they don't exactly recognize the potential of I don't know, they don't recognize the potential of like life in general, right? They don't recognize the potential of just what they have going on. So it's cool. It's an opportunity for them to like be in such a way, but it's just like Taurus kind of has that opposite energy of what I would say the positive of, you know, all this full moon stuff is, but essentially it's it's not exactly everything that it's cracked up to be, if that makes any sense, you know? Because it's like Taurus, they've been sitting back, they haven't been doing much, and they've been confusing procrastination with healthy rest. So when it comes to Taurus, it's like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they're doing stuff, but is it necessary for what they need right now? No. So it's just like, Taurus and the full moon is kind of like getting their ass into gear in such a way of literally just like you know, they're pulling their head out of their ass in terms of like just realizing that you can't just sit back, you can't just do nothing, you can't just have the full moon pulling up in your, you know, your 10th house and being like, oh wait, yeah, we finally got to do stuff, oh wait, yeah, we finally got to make it out and you know, live life in such a way, right? So it's just like Taurus is getting that kick in the ass of just like, yeah, rest is cool, earth is stable, but what are we doing with that? What are we making happen, right? So they're implementing a routine. They're getting a community that is connected to what their purpose is. They're getting back out socializing and recharging their social battery and not feeling drained so that they can actually feel expressive and get out and do things, you know? So with that being said, it's like Taurus is cool, but is it necessarily doing anything? No, and it's going to get in that kick in the ass right now. Now, moving on to Gemini. That's right. What are you even saying? So Gemini, right? The main energy for Gemini, because they have, you know, Aquarius in their 9th house, is the word soul signal, right? So not every conversation needs to be clevered. That's why I laughed. I thought it was funny. Not every conversation needs to be clever, and they need to just like speak from the air that they breathe and what they're oscillating in, not from their brain, you know? Because it's just like I've been saying for Gemini's tool and cheat code that they like to spam is they like to adapt themselves and lose themselves in the energy around them. They like to adapt themselves and they like to lose themselves in the mentality around them. They like to adapt themselves and they like to lose themselves in the community around them. And they don't necessarily recognize that they're, you know, they got stuff going on too. They have their own thoughts. They have their own opinions. If you've adapted to so many people, don't you think you've learned something? Don't you? You know? So it's like Gemini is essentially like relearning individuality, and they're relearning that they are supposed to essentially create an amalgamation of everything they've adapted to and everything they've learned, right? Like it's an opportunity for them to be powerful. It's an opportunity for them to be abundant. It's an opportunity for them to essentially resonate with the different potential for what's the word? Bro, you can just like look at it this way. The average timing of each of my readings is 2 to 5 minutes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signs left. I will be on Scorpio within 20 minutes. Like you could just set a timer on your phone and come back if you want, you know? But you'd be cracking me up, so I hope you stay. But anyways, back to Gemini. Gemini is yo, he's in the candy store. But yeah, Gemini is essentially, they just got to learn that, like, bro, it's like you're aggregating all this information, you're collecting all of these ideas. What are you going to do with it, right? Like, the lesson for everybody in this Leo season is like, everybody needs to learn how to just relax and have an intention in life and direct energy in that way. And don't be surprised when that energy comes back to you, you know? Like, if you put positive energy out, if you direct those energy, if you collect all of those knowledge, right? And literally just be that Gemini energy and just sit and think about what you want out of life, don't you think there would be a cool opportunity? Don't you think there would be some cool things coming back to you? Don't you think a lot of the ideas that you want will be reflected in your space and you'll just be like, wow, I'm living the life that I've always wanted, you know? So, you know, it's cool. Outside of Gemini just having intention for its ideas and like using its collective energy for its own purposes, I wouldn't really say there's too much that it has to do. But that's a big thing, you know, like it's kind of important. It's a little stressful, but it's cool. It has an opportunity. There's things you can do with that, you know? So it's like Gemini has a lot to offer. It's just like, bro, stop spamming your Gemini cheat code of adapting to everything and thinking it's going to be cool. You know, like that's really all it is. Now, moving on to Cancer. What time is it? Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, like, everybody has all the things, right? If you're an Aquarius ascendant, I presume you have Gemini in, like, the 5th house somewhere. 5th or 4th house. But yeah, so Cancer, Cancer's dealing with ancestral legacy. I mean, I'm a Gemini sun. I think Gemini energy is amazing. I just think people undervalue it and don't know how to use it. And I think a lot of male Gemini, I think Geminis are just like, you know, it's like right now the Gemini energy is like hypersexual is an excuse for people to like not hear their childhood trauma for a lot of Geminis. That's what I think about that. But Cancer, so we're dealing with ancestral legacy. They're like Cancer, I mean, it's really just the same big issue that Cancer always has, which is like what you avoid controls you, and what they avoid is creating their emotional and social boundaries from a space of self-love rather than creating it from a space of creating it from a space of, you know, self-love and like, because they do it out of fear, right? Like Cancer's power is they can walk into a room and control the emotional vibrations if they choose, but they're too much on protection mode. They're too much protecting their shell that came from an energy of fear to begin with, right? So it's not as cool as people like. It's not as cool as people think, but it's a good opportunity for them to really sit back and recognize that, you know, the role of the collective is to be rooted in emotional wisdom, right? Like, how are they going to be the ones that are going to create the vibe if they're just creating stress that they felt from childhood, right? They just created stress from whatever they felt in their nervous system. So essentially what they need is like they have to let their softness lead to the hard systems, which is what I'm saying, right? Like create emotional boundaries from self-love rather than fear, rather than anxiety, rather than just like being under pressure all the time. So you're just like, this is terrible, you know? Like you need to be in a space where you can relax, experience self-love, chill out, and then everything that'll come from that will just naturally fall into place. And what I mean by that is people will learn how to respect you. You'll learn how to command a room. You'll learn how to be so abundant and emotionally powerful that you're going to forget about different aspects of life. You're going to forget about different potential. You're going to forget about different opportunities, you know? So essentially what it is like people will learn how to just control the emotional vibes of the room. They'll learn how to control the potential. They'll learn how to control the opportunities that they didn't even know they could ask for, you know? So essentially what it is it's just like one of the most powerful energies that you could possibly have. But the issue is you have to go through all of that pain of what you want to avoid and eventually evolve, right? Because it's like it's just like the hermit crab. When you let go of your old shell, you're spending time exposed. But eventually, you can find a bigger, more creative, more powerful shell and improve your home. Powerful thing for Cancers, man. Are you looking at my cubes? Is that what's making you say that? But yeah, and then the next, moving on to Leo. Thank you. Okay, so Leo, Leo has an energy of visionary fire. Yo guys, if you like my lotion, spam some hearts in the chat or some likes or something. Make me want to moisturize. But yeah, anyways, Leo is the energy of visionary fire. It's not necessarily about being seen. It's about seeing clearly and leading with insight, not necessarily applause, right? So this is like Leo naturally leads. People naturally want to hang out with Leo. And they essentially have to recognize like the hierarchy within their friend status. They have to recognize the hierarchy within their associations. They have to recognize the hierarchy with everyone that they're around. And remember that the people that they hold close are holding the perspective that the public has for their own inner vision. So this is why I called it visionary fire. Why did I say that? I said visionary fire because they have opportunities, but how they disseminate that information and how they, move it along to the public is a whole different story. So what it is an opportunity for them to essentially just be, for them to essentially open up, for them to really recognize who they want to hold the plans and the ideas for their own inner vision. Who do they want to do that, right? Who do they want to put out there? Who do they want to share that with? Who do they want to give that opportunity to? Because that's a big thing, right? That's a big, powerful thing. That's an opportunity for them to essentially, whatchamacallit? Oh, thank you. Who do they want to share? Like, who do they want to have messenger status for their vision, right? Like, it's basically, like, if we're going to talk in pirate terms, Leo ascendants want to, they gotta pick their first mate wisely, right? They gotta pick their first mate. Like, who's gonna be the arbiter of their vision? Who's gonna be the arbiter of, like, who's gonna manage all that? Who's gonna manage them being their number two? That creates like it's basically like picking an executive assistant, if that makes any sense. Like, for example, the Healing Rebel Beans is a Leo who has this reading that I'm giving right now, and if I were the one to be in the Leo ascendant position, essentially what I would be selecting is like what Beans does, right? Like someone who's genuinely interested in the knowledge that I give and has the time, capability, and skill level to assist me in what I need right now, which is a moderator managing the chat, posting my links, and carrying out the vision in such a way that is, beneficial for the vision as a whole. It's an opportunity, right? And what's cool about that is it teaches you one of the main, like Leos are learning one of the big lessons about building an organization or building a vision, which is running through all the tasks necessary, making sure that the vision is clear, creating a phenomenal system around it, and then asking the question of, can I delegate, automate, or hire someone to do this job so I don't have to, right? Because the key to, financial freedom from a business perspective is picking like a winning product, creating a system around it, and then creating a system that doesn't involve you. So you can think about like high level stuff and poke and prod and test it in different ways, So it's like it's cool, but is it necessarily, useful in supporting you in some way? Maybe not, right? Like, and that's just kind of like what it is for Leo. So like use that as an example. Now, moving on to Virgos as we inch ever closer towards Scorpio for ya boy. Yeah. yeah, that's you. So yeah, and then if you're actually interested in like learning my way of astrology, you can check out my school. And yeah, I have like numerous courses in a community where I teach people. Like, so it's just like if you want to learn astrology, you want to become an astrologer, and gain some type of certification in some way, shape, or form to like actually have this. Not that I have that, but people have asked about it. You should definitely check it out. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool, you know? People be learning, people be having their manifestations increase. It's a phenomenal thing. Yeah. There it is. So, Virgo. So, what Virgo is dealing with is the energy of sacred reorganization. You know, they got the full moon in their 6th house, so it's just like, well, thank you for correcting it. The energy of sacred communication, or reorganization, sorry, is dealing with their 6th house. They are, you know, asking themselves, like, the system they built, is it outdated? Does it need to be tweaked? Do they have to reinvent it? And if so, what aspects? Is it a complete overhaul? Is it a complete energy of which one? Oh yeah, need that stretch. Like you just kind of ask the question of like, what do you need it for? What do you want it for? Like, why do you have to tweak it? You know, and it's gonna like send you on a Virgo tiff or tizzy, as one might say, but it's not exactly. How do I put this? Like, it's not exactly. Like you could have to do nothing, you could have to do something, but like if a Virgo sees this, they're automatically gonna want to rejigger everything. And honestly, it's like how it actually looks and what you're actually gonna be doing is very unique to you, but it's not necessarily what you should do, right? Like I highly recommend waiting till tomorrow when the moon actually conjuncts Pluto, and you let the moon tell you, you let Pluto tell you, you figure out what you have to fix, right? Like you have a pain in your gut, right? Like the full moon is going to be in your 6th house, which is your gut chakra. You very well could have gut issues if something's like holding you back, or like you've been holding something back for a long time. But is it exactly what you need to worry about? No. Like it's a very small chance that that would happen, and it's something that you overlooked for a long time. Is it something that you need to manage and mitigate? Yeah, but let the moon tell you. Don't try to front run what it could be. Don't try to front run everything you're dealing with. Just take the time to isolate, focus, and you'll get there. It'll be okay, you know? So, I don't know. It's just like whatever they're working on needs to be rejiggered. Don't exactly know what that is. You'll figure it out on the full moon. Now Libra, we're one away from Scorpio. So Libra is the harmony code. They're dealing with Aquarius in their 5th house. This could be a lesson for Taurus, that's for sure. Look at it this way. Real balance isn't inaction. It's right action at the right time. And decide what you value, then move on, right? So for Libras, this is predicated on Mars as well as the full moon and that kind of interaction. And it's an opportunity for essentially people to whatchamacallit? It's an opportunity, here we go. I've been waiting on that. That never doesn't happen. It's an opportunity for people to, what's the word? Essentially just figure out what's right for them, not focusing on the creative endeavors of, like, just not focusing on the creative and thank you. Just focusing on the creative endeavors of just like what they want to do, rather than focusing on their creative energies on the public and creating an alignment in that regard. So if you look at it like they're kind of doing a similar thing as Aries, but from a different way, of where they're focusing on what the people want, not necessarily in a way of like, oh, I'm going to do what's creative because the people want it, but they're doing it in a way of where they feel connected to the community and society in a way, and they almost offer themselves in a sense of service. They offer themselves in a sense of energy of, you know, helping people when they need help, helping people when they need things, helping people when they do this, helping people when they do that, right? And it's not exactly smart because it's not really like, you know, it's like you're spending so much time focusing on everybody else, you have to focus on yourself. You have to take the time to integrate. You have to take the time to absorb and recognize what's not yours, right? Like a lot of Libras absorb what isn't theirs. A lot of Libras do things that no one even asks. A lot of Libras have that subconscious Virgo energy of where they just need the help, or they innately need to supply some type of support to a relationship, giving them the old, it's not mine, it's ours type of deal, you know? So it's an opportunity for people to be cool. It's an opportunity for people to share these energies, but is it exactly something that is going to resonate with everyone or resonate with what people need? No. Eventually that energy of alignment is going to come into play where they ain't exactly aligned with what they got going on, and they need to figure that out, you know? And it comes from them just like feeling the need to be like the problem solver in any type of interpersonal conflict. Like that's really what it is, right? It's just that underlying mechanism of Libra that is holding everyone back in some way, shape, or form. Now we're moving on to Scorpio. Are you happy? Everybody new like the live. Spam hearts in the chat for Scorpio. Shout out to Scorpio. Show Scorpio some love. Okay. So Scorpio, right? Scorpio is the, one second. So Scorpio is the hidden architect. Their silence is power. Let their, you know, let their transformation work behind the scenes. It's almost time for them, but not quite. And essentially what it is they're realigning their heart. They're figuring out what they feel connected to. They're figuring out what they want. They're figuring out, you know, Scorpio's been really going through that like bamboo energy of where it's like they spread all them roots for a long time, and then they don't shoot up until like 5 years later, right? So it's just like they go through every possibility, every lesson, every single piece of energy you could possibly deal with. And it's, you know, is it some bullshit? Sure. It 1000% is. You have to go through so much. And the reason why Scorpio has to go through so much is because they don't really get the luck of ignorance. They don't get ignorance is bliss. They don't get that energy of let's sit back and just see how it goes. They need to know for sure. They need to cross their T's. They need to dot their I's. They need to see every single aspect of what's going on. They need to see every single possibility of what's going on. They need to know every single in and outs of what they're possibly going to experience to be more than certain, to be more than molded, to be more than open to any possibility of what could be, right? So when we talk about Scorpio, and we talk about it in that way, Scorpio is just dealing with something from childhood. They're dealing with something from their family. And they have to let go some type of subconscious presentation of themselves or some type of subconscious programming that is holding them back from their main vision, right? Because it's like, you know, after the full moon, Scorpio's got something coming. Scorpio's got something coming that's amazing, right? Like, if they, like, literally 3 days after the full moon, if a Scorpio is in some type of debt or energetic debt, it literally could be absolved instantaneously on that day. It could be all taken away, or at least the path to it will be presented, right? If Scorpio wants to experience some type of abundance or some type of investment, it could happen on that day. Scorpio has an opportunity to move up and move on in such a way that they don't even see it coming. They, what time did I do Aries? I did Aries on 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 40 seconds. Thank you for asking. But yeah, so Scorpio is like, Scorpio is like they're, whatever they got going on, it's around the corner. They just have to go through some more stuff. They're gonna have something like pique their interest and pique the opportunity, but it's not exactly, you know, like they just got to work behind the scenes for a little bit longer. They're gonna have some opportunities come into play off the strength of them just being them, but you know, they got some things to work through before they get there and something that's holding them back. I highly recommend, like, for Scorpios, like, before you wake up, like, literally just, like, sit by your bed with your eyes closed, maybe in the fetal position, maybe some type of like that. Like, just, like, literally just, like, sitting there, straight knee clutching, and being just breathing deeply, right? Like, taking the time and just sitting and breathing and getting themselves into the right state of mind and just moving on. That's what I highly recommend for Scorpio, because they have something to see. They've been avoiding it. It may be buried deep, but they'll get there, you know? Everybody spam the little emojis over here, whatever that thing is. Do it for me. But yeah, that's the vibe. Moving on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is dealing with an expanded horizon. They're going to be a lot better at articulating what they're dealing with. They're going to be a lot better at essentially, like, they're going to be going down a lot of rabbit holes. And they're going to be, like, seeing a lot of old lessons with new eyes, if that makes any sense. They're craving truth for some reason. And they're also recognizing the path. They're recognizing the mental path of those, like, rabbit hole truth spiral type of energies. It's odd. Everybody knew, like, the live. I don't know, they're kind of having, like, a meta experience, if that makes any sense, where it's just like, I love to study, I love to do this, I love to do that. But why do I love to do that? Why do I follow this path? Why do I think this way when I get this excited about things? You know? Like, that is what we're dealing with. That is what Sagittarius is focusing on, right? Like, they're focusing on the path. Because one of the main issues of Sagittarius is they spend so much time ascribing meaning to things that, like, don't really need meaning, right? Like, it's like when you smell, like, fresh cut grass for the first cut after winter, and they get a memory from it, and they think that cutting grass is some form of inspiration towards something that they need to do right now, where they need to experience that smell even more, right? Right now, they're dissecting why they always lead to that path of inspiration, and they're dissecting what they need to experience to manage that and mitigate that, right? So essentially what Sagittarius is doing is they're just saving a lot of time for themselves, not necessarily going down that same path where they're just asking themselves, like, why are we doing this? Why are we having this? Why are we experiencing this? And what's going on with that, right? So, I mean, with that being said, like, essentially what's going on is they, you know, they're just learning how to not spend too much time on things that just kind of, like, don't mean anything, right? Like, they're, like, literally learning how to, they're doing the same thing that Cancer kind of does, of where it's like they're learning their power, they're learning their opportunity, they're learning the potential that they have to open up. They're learning the potential that they have to expand their spirit, expand their goals, expand their gifts, by just not wasting so much time on being like, oh, just because I ascribe meaning to this doesn't mean it actually means anything, you know? So it's like they're becoming more efficient in terms of how they just dive too deep in meaning in that way. That's pretty much what's going on. Now, Capricorn. Capricorn is at 49. So Capricorn is dealing with a legacy blueprint they're kind of revitalizing. The moon is in their constellation, but not necessarily angling their sign. So it's kind of asking the question of, like, what systems are you here to build? Think in centuries, not seasons, right? So it's all about asking, like, what is the value behind this? What is the experience behind this? What is the energy behind this? What is the opportunity behind this, right? Capricorn is focusing on the energies of opportunity. They're focusing on the energies of creativity. They're focusing on the potential for just like what is, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just focusing on that. Hey, oh man, yo, your wife's here. But yeah, yo, start scheming on the healing rebel. Entertain me. Entertain me. Mr. X, you should book a live reading. Prove you're a master of Monaco. Hey, man, he's got his mouth open. All right. So Capricorn's essentially, like, what they got going on is Capricorn's focusing on legacy planning. Since Mr. X of Monaco has showed up, like, one of the things that you could think of in centuries is, you know, positioning your businesses, positioning the systems that you've built for, you know, currency flow to be in a tax optimized location, you know? Maybe you're in Monaco. Maybe if you're American, you're in Puerto Rico. Maybe you're in Malta or you're somewhere like that. Glenn Kling, like the live. Mr. X, like the live. But essentially what you're doing is you're thinking of how you can maximize all of your profit for yourself, right? Whether that be monetary, whether that be emotional, whether that be artistically, whether that be creatively. It's asking you the question of like, what systems are you here to build and how can you, you know, future-proof that? How can you build it for longevity, right? So this is connected into the Leo reading in some way of where it's like, if I have tasks, how can I outsource it? How can I automate it? How can I delegate it? And how can I hire for it? And consistently asking yourself, do I really have to do this? How can I separate myself outside of my business? How can I isolate it into a system, right? And this is the question of what Capricorn is supposed to do, right? Like this is the essential energy of, oh man, did you, you said you had 172 last time. Did you get rid of 10? But, essentially what's going on is, essentially what's going on with the Capricorn energies, they're just doing like a lot of like long-term planning in terms of what they want, and they're figuring out what they value, and they're figuring out what's the most efficient way and most effective way that I can conserve my own energies and time to get there, right? So, that's funny. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much Capricorn energy, just figuring out how to conserve time, energy, and really isolate on what you want to experience and what you're focusing on. That's pretty much it. Then moving on to Aquarius. Oh yeah, and then Mr. X, Libra is at an hour 37 and 40 seconds. If you want to go check that out. So so Aquarius, Aquarius is the energy of soul signal. Whatchamacallit? Let me write that down. So with Aquarius, right, they have the full moon on their ascendant. They're the portal. They don't need to be a genius. They just need to be the frequency of it. You know, and just be the frequency through which it flows in a way. So Aquarius has a pretty good opportunity here to be extremely abundant, extremely powerful, and kind of recognize that like they have the power. They've always had the power. And essentially just grow through sharing excitement, grow through sharing like what people need. Because right now they have, they could use their powers of essentially seeing like what society sees, what society expects, and then literally telling people where they fit, right? So instead of like positioning people and manipulating people and giving people the old phrase of manipulation and motivation are two sides of the same coin, they are essentially showing people that they have the power to guide them. So if they use that power to guide rather than to position themselves in a way for whatever their purpose is, they have a lot of opportunity. They have a lot of potential. They have a lot of prosperity to be gifted to the world in such a way that is, you know, amazing, abundant, opportunistic, and ready to share them, share people with what's going on, right? So what people have and what people can share in that space is pretty cool, right? Because it's just like they're the portal. Do they want to use the portal for themselves? Do they want to use the portal for the public? Or do they want to show specific people what can be just in general, right? So yeah, I mean, like, pretty broad, but they have an opportunity to really just be like a channel for the moon and guide people towards where they need to be, which is chill. It's pretty chill. Now, when we move on to Pisces, and then once again, if you guys got any questions, feel free to drop it. Whatchamacallit? What glass? The one at the dive bar? They don't have dive bars in Monaco. So when it comes to Pisces, the Dreamweaver, they're dealing with Aquarius in their 12th house. So it's like their visions aren't delusions, they're divine seeds, but they need to plant them, right? So it's just like they're dreaming in a way, and the full moon's going to offer them a dream. It's kind of like the amalgamation of, yeah, sometimes. Their dreams are an amalgamation of what the collective needs, wants, and is yearning for from an energetic place. And it is an opportunity for them to essentially take those dreams, show people what they need, and almost like leverage them out of the subconscious of the masses in order to show people that they have an opportunity to just like whatever they want to experience that they're not seeing, it's there. They have an opportunity. They can make it happen. They can do these things, right? So essentially what it is a space of it's a cool space to be in. It's a cool energy to be in, but is it necessarily where they need to be? No. Is it where they want to be? Maybe. But, you know, right now Pisces is kind of taking an energetic break from focusing on themselves, getting lost in the sauce of everyone else, and they're taking time to, you know, resonate with others. They're taking time to whatchamacallit? No, I'm not doing a room tour. And they're just taking time to like literally pull the energy of the collective and plant it in a way that they never would have expected. So essentially what they're doing is they're just like giving out the possibility of sharing a dream with others and giving a possibility of just allowing people to share their vision in a way that they never would have expected. So I don't know, it's kind of like they're doing spiritual God's work, spiritual. I can't think of it. I don't know. It's kind of like drawing a lottery ticket for people to. It's like drawing a lottery ticket that no one expected, right? So it's like giving people that opportunity to draw a lottery ticket that they didn't take out, but hey, they get all the winnings of it. So I don't know. I think it's cool that way. Yeah, dude. I was out in the woods on a crazy fast binge native vision quest. So, you know, you learn some things when you do stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this Pisces for you. That's pretty much all the readings for everybody. If y'all got a question about astrology or some shit like that, let me know. Yeah, you be cracking me up. My carbs, man. How'd you know I'm on a carnivore diet? get some snacks. Here. We'll put it up here for you, boy. That is deceivingly true, you know? That's how Warren Buffett stays repping his products. I'm gonna go get some snacks and I'll be back, guys. I got some rosemary. Yeah, y'all are wild. Yeah, damn, what are they dumping? In general, I don't know. I would say astrology is the energetic it's the technical understanding of the energetic influences in this realm. Yeah, I'm eating rosemary. I like rosemary. So yeah, it's the technical understanding of the energetic influences in this realm, and it helps you. What you call it? It helps you understand and articulate certain like I think my theory is that it's some of the unexplained energies of gravity. That's kind of like how I look at it. But yeah, it affects different aspects of your life because you're a reflection of the being that we're living in right now. We're kind of living in a water snake, if that makes any sense. Because that's, and the planets are the chakras of that being. And it experiencing different spaces and different energies affects us because we're reflections of that, right? So it's like a lot of our chakras are along our spine. Do I believe more in religion or science? I guess I would say science because I don't really do any religious stuff. I think religion is a reflection of a moral code and authority that kind of, you know, aligns with life. That's what I think. Like it's like I look at religion as people going to a used car salesman or just a car salesman in general to essentially like buy like a moral system or a mentality. So it's like it's cool, but it's like, you know, it's like you don't want to go through life and figure out like what the do's and don'ts are for yourself, so you just letting the book tell you. Nothing wrong with it. It's up to you. You know, you can live your life however you want. But yeah, I don't know. It's like sometimes I listen to science, sometimes I listen to spirituality. Like I wouldn't necessarily use spirituality to tell me like what my purpose of how to use AI is. I wouldn't use spirituality to, you know, tell me how I want to be seen on like social media and present myself, you know? Yeah, it happens. I don't know, he asked an insightful question, you know? What the fuck? That's cool. You're funny. Mr. X, did you even like the live? New York. The mothership? I don't know. Shouts out to Scientology. I don't know. I sort of like see them as both. Like, I don't know. Like people like talk about like stoned ape theory. Like if the apple was symbolizing of, you know, if the apple was like speaking of symbolicism of just like expanding your mind for being able to process like more information and stuff like that. I don't know. It's kind of like a mix of both. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm still sort of, I guess, like, where humans came from, I'm still sort of on the whole, like, the wave of, like, aliens and, like, an alleged, you know, war between, like, genetically engineering, like, species, you know? I don't really think about it too deeply, though, because it's, like, I think, you're funny. Whatchamacallit. But yeah, I don't know. I think the human body was engineered. And it's like, by who, you know? Hey, man, you asked me a wild theory, and I'm giving you a wild answer. Like, I'm not, like, 100% sure on that, or even, like, 100% sure that that's, like, what I would call a belief, but it's definitely an opinion or a theory that I find interesting. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Yes, you are aliens. You spent 10 Bitcoin on an alien escort. Or 2. Hey, man, sometimes you're busy. Aliens from Monaco. Yeah, man. Why not? I mean, like, you can look at otherworldly beings in lots of different ways. Like, it depends on, like, what vessel you choose, right? Because it's just, like, you could have had a life as an alien, and you could have just projected your spirit into a body from different perspectives or whatever, you know? So it's, like... Yeah. I mean, this is where I, I appreciate that. This is where I, like, listen to, whatchamacallit, you willing to pay for them? Find me on Feet Finder. Yeah, thank you, Hanging Empress. I'm sure your house has a lot of insightful conversation, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I did all my readings, so now I'm, like, paying attention to it because it's always funny. But yeah, dude, I don't know. But what I was saying about aliens is, like, technically, like, you know, a lot of us are otherworlders, you know? Like, that's why they call it starseeds. That's why they call it that. And when I was talking about the fixed star behind the moon, it's like everybody has a fixed star behind their moon. And you have to check some other things in one's astrology chart to verify these things, but that's usually pretty telling of if you came from another planet or not. And it tells you which one, which is pretty cool, you know? Yeah. So yeah, man, I don't know. There's a lot of opportunities in regards to that. You'll see. Shit's cool, man. I mean, like, you're taking, like, what I'm saying at, like, too much face value, you know? Like, I'm using the word alien as a euphemism for someone that was not born on this world, spiritually speaking. And I'm telling you a mechanism in which you can tell. You know, like, it's not anything too wild. It's literally, like, it's a small aspect of my fixed star reading, you know? Like, in my fixed star readings, I specifically focus on, whatchamacallit? Like, I more or less focus on, like, your purpose and your mentality in this lifetime to help you, like, better understand, like, what you need to do in life from, like, a clarity perspective. But it's, like, the cool add-on to that is, like, oh, this is potentially, like, your past life and where you came from in a last life, blah, 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 you know? Which is then, you know, could be defined as you're an alien. It's not really anything specific. It's more or less something to just satisfy the ego. But, cool nonetheless. That's pretty much what's going on. You're funny. Yo, Mr. X ain't number one. RIP him, man. Hi, Mom. I'm just finishing up. Oh, wow. I hope they thought it was insightful. Yes? I couldn't tell anything about you from little information. I don't have the information to do the mechanism that I was telling you. I was speaking in hypotheticals. I didn't give you any particular reading or anything. So it's like, even if you did lie, there was nothing to ascertain from that. So I don't know. It's kind of like a moot question. Yeah, I could use some chips. I'm pretty hungry. I want to be skinny. Bro, I don't know what you're saying, man. That's funny. I don't know what you're asking about, man. That's like you're kind of getting distracted. All right, guys, that's it for me. If you want to check back, I'm going to be putting in the timestamps soon.